A skiff being a secure room.
Secure room. Uri had come to talk about the plight of Soviet Jews. He was not there to bend stuff. And present were Congress people and staffers and senators and whatnot. And so he was talking, everybody said, bend something, bend something. You didn't have anything, so they had to, this spoon actually came from a guard's coffee cup outside. And I was sitting at about the distance we are now, very close, because I suspected this might happen. And he goes like this, not like that, but just like, and this thing bent some. And then he put it on the chair, the back of the chair next to him, went on talking. And as he did that, this continued to bend. And then it fell on the floor and ended up in my pocket.
How does that work? I mean,
I have no idea.
It's real, though.
That's what the book is about these things that where it transcends our common understanding or theories, particularly of energy. Because the question for that would be, where does the energy come from?
Things that can't happen but did.
Correct. These are naive subjects. You know, these people have never done this before. And what happened is this one dropped a full 90 degrees, came back up straight, and then went down to where it is now, with this colonel holding them the way I am now.
You did it?
No, I saw it. No, take that back. I saw the waving part where the whole thing moved, as did everybody who was there.
Generals, colonels.
Yeah.
What did they say? What's their reaction to it?
Well, the reaction was, I wish that hadn't happened. I mean, the guy that's why I have these, because normally we give them to the people who are there. And he put it down and just said, it literally scared the crap out of him. And fortunately, we had a shrink with us, because it took us a couple days to put him back together again before we sent him home.
Doesn't want it to be true.
No, and he went back, he was stationed in Europe, and he went back and he did it once more and put it down and never touched it again.
We'll talk about Uri a little bit more. We don't know how that works, but you've been in that vicinity, in that world for a long time, working with colleagues who were involved in the testing of him.
Right.
It's real.
Well, some of these events are certainly real. I've known Uri for decades. You want me to show this one again? I give this is a classic example. He'd come to the US, he was talking to Congress about the plight of Soviet Jews. They asked him to bend something, and so they didn't have anything, so they went out from the skiff and found this spoon, literally in a guard's coffee cup. I was sitting where I could very closely observe, because we have had magicians involved. It's not that we've done this in blind, as they would have you believe, but he went like this, not like this, because when that happens, it's probably fake. There are a number of other ways to do it, but he went, and this thing bent upwards. And then, as he continued to talk, he placed the spoon on the back of the chair, went on talking, and as he did, I could see the spoon continuing to bend with nobody touching it. Then it fell and ended up in my pocket.
You know, he's been tested and poked and prodded in lab type conditions for powers in addition to that.
Oh yeah.
And is
finding gravitons, bending lasers, that's not supposed to happen. You do actually bending light using physical force. One of the classic ones where I know all of the participants is he was at SRI at Hal Puthoff's lab. With Edgar Mitchell was there, and they went to lunch and they were eating ice cream, and when they did, all of a sudden Uri goes, oh, and he spits this thing out of his mouth, which was a tie-tack that had been given only to the Apollo astronauts, and in this case had been broken and put back together again, and it was Edgar's tie-tack that he had lost back in Florida, and they're in Palo Alto.
In the vicinity of Uri, when he does the things that he does, however it works, other weird stuff has been known to happen. Things appear and...
Yeah. Well, probably the biggest one, if you want teleportation, and I've talked to, do you know Andrea Poharic? This happened when Uri was in Manhattan, and he was going to go up to Andrea's place up to state New York. And he's running along. He's got somebody with him who leaves and takes the fastest means of transportation up to Osning. Uri disappears, and when this individual arrives at Osning, Uri's already there, beat up, because as he ran down, he suddenly disappeared and came crashing through the gazebo at Andrea's place in Osning.
I mean, this stuff sounds preposterous. There's been UFO stuff that shows up in the vicinity of this.
Well, he had the 9, and yes, he supposedly had contact early on with, mental contact from the time he was a very young boy in Israel.
It almost suggests that there's a connection, as you explore in the book, a connection between various types of weird phenomena, unexplained phenomena, that you tap into some psychic abilities and it opens a door to something else, something that we think is something else.
Yeah, one of the classic slides that I use in all of my presentations has to do with pictures of UFOs, psychokinesis, remote viewing, firewalking, even Sasquatch, cryptozoology, and all of these. And it is my opinion that somehow these are interconnected through human consciousness, but in ways we do not understand. I also want to emphasize that, I think that what we're looking at is something that's at least as complex as cancer or AIDS. Yet when you look at the amount of money that's put into it, it's absolutely minuscule. So I think we're a long ways off from solutions.
Geller's there at SRI, as other people are, being tested, and they're trying to figure out how this works. I mean, it was not just pure scientific research. They had a client.
Sure.
CIA.
Well, CIA was one of them, but the intelligence community, there were several from the intelligence community who were paying for the research.
I mean, they do, over the years, have done a lot of that behind the scenes. I mean, try to figure out what's going on with this.
The thing I stress is the difference between institutional interest and individual interest. And when you find these projects, they're usually small, and they're governed by somebody who has personal interest and can drive it. And, they have done some pretty amazing things.
It's like the quote, the government is hiding UFO information.
Yeah. Well, as
you look for it.
I worked in the Pentagon for years, and I worked to run around looking for this guy that says the Pentagon says this and the Pentagon says. Pentagon doesn't say anything. It's a big stone building. But there's about 29,000 people in there, and they come with a wide variety of beliefs. Now, the other thing about UFOs and all these phenomena is that normal people have them. And that is true in the government as well as outside.